Whilst we did go out of the cup this weekend, there was a slight overreaction from our fan base. In all honesty, we are missing a lot of key players, and that may have just got even worse after a recent reveal. In today's video, we are going to discuss all the latest Celtic news from the last 24 hours. But first, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Celtic content. Celtic lost by a goal to nil in the second round of the Viaplay Cup on Sunday afternoon, as a spirited Kilmarnock side caused the boys a wealth of problems. Haksabanovic drove towards the byline and was clipped. The Montenegrin international went down, and he and all of the Celtic support behind the goal screamed for a penalty. Referee Alan Muir waved away the claims, however. The call didn't even go to VAR. In the game's aftermath though, several pundits and fans alike have voiced their opinions on the decision. Former Rangers captain Barry Ferguson has been the latest to do so. He said on Go Radio, "It's a penalty. If I'm playing, I'll be absolutely raging. End of, it's a penalty. He's clipped him and he's went down. I fully expected when I was watching the game. I was like, right, this is going to extra time." It shows how easily a spot kick could have been given that the former skipper of Celtic's arch rivals firmly believes it was a penalty. We may well have seen a different outcome to the game had Muir pointed to the spot, but he didn't. In the coming weeks, the boys need to up their game and ensure there are no repeat performances of Sunday. Celtic is facing a defensive crisis as injuries continue to mount up among key players. According to a report by Sun Sport, the club's defensive woes have worsened with a recent injury of Mark Nowacki, who is expected to miss the upcoming Glasgow derby clash on September the 3rd. Nowacki, who signed for £4 million just last month, sustained a hamstring injury during the closing stages of Celtic's defeat to Kilmarnock on Sunday. The 22-year-old is now set to spend time on the sidelines and is not expected to recover in time for the highly anticipated match against the Rangers. Celtic's defensive troubles don't end there though. Cameron Carter-Vickers is also expected to miss the Rangers fixture due to a hamstring injury. The influential USA defender was forced off the field during a match against Aberdeen last weekend, and there are concerns that he could face an extended period out of action. Stephen Welsh ruptured ankle ligaments shortly after signing a new deal on Friday. Welsh is scheduled to undergo surgery to address the injury. With Yuki Kobayashi still not fully fit after pre-season injury, Celtic currently only have two central defenders available, Gustav Lagerbilk and Liam Scales. Lagerbilk, who made his debut against Kilmarnock on Sunday, and is now expected to shoulder significant responsibility in the upcoming fixtures. Liam Scales, who's an Irish defender, had been expected to return to Aberdeen after a successful loan spell last season, but that deal now appears to be off the table. Owata and Alistair Johnson have both played centre-back before, and this might have to come into play over the coming weeks. As injuries continue to mount, Celtic boss Rodgers may be forced to look to the transfer market for cover. Depending on the length of time Nowacki and Carter-Vickers are expected to be out of action. Chris Sutton has given his verdict over the result at the weekend and has stated, "I think most of the Celtic support thought Brennan was the right man to come back. In terms of coaching credentials, the best man for the job. But what we do know north of the border is the climate can change very, very quickly. And now I think you may have seen this stuff online about how Celtic played, and a lot of supporters are unhappy about the way that they played. They didn't create opportunities, and it will become a problem. They play Rangers in a couple of weeks, which now turns into an enormous game. And Michael Beale hasn't got off to a flyer himself, so I mean it's an interesting time." And Sutton is correct. The new style of play that Rodgers is applying at the club is taking a bit of time to bed in with the players. It did look good in pre-season, but with the current injury crisis at the club, it seems that it could take a little bit longer for the players to adjust. But the lack of chances that were created by Celtic is also a concern. For the past 2 seasons, we have been used to seeing the teams carve out multiple goal-scoring opportunities. Even against the best teams in Europe, we still managed to break down their defence. On Sunday there were 8, with only 3 of those on target. It's unusual to say the least, but it's a problem that needs to be fixed before it becomes a trend. Look, I'm a realist, it's still very early in the season and too soon to be hitting the panic button. But as I've discussed here before, Celtic are on a run of 9 difficult fixtures, where 6 of those are away from home. Captain Conor McGregor described the loss at the weekend as a learning curve that his team must improve upon. The Scotland international also made some worrying claims about the Hoops' play style towards the end of the match. McGregor stated that Celtic began to resort to playing several long balls. He said, "We started hitting long passes, which is not us. I don't mean good passes in terms of trying to play in behind. It was just sort of launching the ball and hoping for the best. That's disappointing, that we don't stick to the principles that we know will work for us. It's surprising and disappointing at the same time. Clearly in their desperation, the boys started playing in a manner that was not characteristic of the Celtic team. Last season, principles were kept in no matter the scoreline, and the majority of the time the champions got what they needed. However, the team is going through a slight transition with a managerial change. Despite this, there are no excuses for Sunday, and going forward, answers need to be given for the types of questions Brendan Rodgers' men will be asked. Celtic are thankfully not involved in the UEFA qualifiers this summer, but that doesn't mean there isn't interest for the boys in these matches as the Champions League playoff round looms. It looks increasingly likely that Celtic will be in pot 4 of the competition, so while that slim hope of pot 3 remains alive, that's not the main consideration. Chiefly, the bonus of the playoff round is that more money could be on its way to the boys, should certain teams make it into the group stages. AEK Athens helped to that end at the weekend, as we explained here on Celtic News, with their result against Dynamo Zagreb banking Celtic another £970,000 from the 10-year coefficient ranking list payout from UEFA. Dynamo are above Celtic in the list, with AEK and their playoff opponents Antwerp lower, meaning the boys are guaranteed to be a place higher than they would have been with the Croatians in the tournament. Each ranking step is worth another £970,000 to those who make it into the group stages, and there's more money on the line with the next round of ties. Both Panathinaikos and Rakow are below Celtic in the 10-year list, with their playoff opponents Braga and Copenhagen above the Scottish champions. So another £1.94 million would be on their way to the boys should the Greeks and Poles make it. Rangers getting through over PSV would also land another £970,000 from the coefficient payment, but it's a net benefit for Celtic if the Ibrox side crash out due to an extra share of the TV pool payment as Scotland's sole representatives. Celtic fans, what do you make of our injury problems and our start to the season? Let me know down in the comment section below. That does bring us to the end of today's video, guys. Make sure you drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Remember, we have released our brand new Celtic t-shirts. We have our Brendan Rodgers Pope t-shirt and our Celtic Ultra t-shirts too. You can find them at celticapparel.com or just go down to the link in the description. And guys, I quickly want to say thank you for all the support recently on both the channel and on Celtic Apparel, our merchandise website. It's been amazing. We recently hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is massively, massively appreciated. If you haven't yet subscribed, as we said already multiple times, make sure you do so. We are trying to get to 10,000 subscribers come the end of the year, so help us on our way to that goal. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.